Hi guys, it's Amourette. How's everyone doing? Good, good, good. I very much hope. So, today I wanted to review the latest fragrance to come from Etat Libre d'Orange. I've been kind of reviewing their fragrances here and there recently upon discovering a lot more of them. Really fun brand, Parisian brand, quite provocative, quite naughty. And they have released a new fragrance. It came out in the later part of last year. It's called Amourette. Now, Etat Libre d'Orange, while they make fragrances, they have their own line. They will often collaborate with a famous person. So it's kind of like a semi-celebrity scent, I guess you could call it. They did a fragrance called Like This with Tilda Swinton. That had everything kind of orange in it, like carrot seeds and pumpkin and just weird things like that. They worked with the Tom of Finland collaboration, which is the kind of male erotic art. And this time they have collaborated with a man called Roland Amourette, who is a sleek fashion designer. And true to Etat Libre d'Orange's style, they have done a play on words where it's Roland Amourette is his name, and it's called Amourette. An amourette in French means a fling, a little bit of a sordid, you know, is tete-a-tete the right thing to say? I don't know. A little bit of a fling with someone, you know, a few sexual encounters here and there. And Etat Libre d'Orange really do have, a lot of the time, a kind of sexual undertone to a lot of their fragrances, and this one is called a fling. So I want to talk to you about it because it is quite interesting. But first, I'll tell you the notes. So as far as we know, there is only vanilla, iris, neroli, and the note that this review is going to be centered around, which is Akigala wood, or it might even be pronounced Akigala wood, I'm not sure. So I need to talk about this wood because it's not something you see pop up all the time. There are only a handful of fragrances on Fragrantica that claim to have this wood in it. I have smelled it in another niche fragrance called Metal Hurlant by Pierre Guillaume, except he didn't really shout about it as loudly as Etat Libre d'Orange have with this one. So, what is Akigala wood? It's not the usual cedar wood, it's not the usual sandalwood. It's not even a wood at all upon research. So what Akigala wood is basically, it's like a descendant of patchouli. They have fractioned patchouli and taken out some kind of element of patchouli that's created this aroma, and they have named it Akigala wood. I guess it's kind of like a fantasy thing that's been made up. It's a thing, it's a real thing, but it probably didn't have a name. Just like me and you didn't have a name before we existed. So I guess you could call it a fractionated one. It's like splitting open the atom. They've done something with patchouli where they've created this entirely new aroma and they've pinned it and called it Akigala wood because it does actually smell very woody. I guess it's kind of similar to the way Firmenich created Wolfwood for Thierry Mugler's Aura. That might have been a blend of stuff, where this is the opposite, where it's a singular thing. It's one or the other. Take your pick. I'm pretty sure, because it's like a fraction of patchouli, I'm pretty sure they've taken an element out and then bam, we have Akigala wood. So what does it smell like? So this fragrance, yes, it's called a fling. A fling. It's a fragrance love affair. They say it won't last forever, but it's unforgettable. So this is supposed to, from what I've heard as well, have some sort of pheromone accord in it. Pheromones, I'm not going to get into because some people don't think they even exist, but this is supposed to be like what a pheromone would smell like if it had a smell. It's supposed to have a gold accord in it as well, but this is how I think it smells. When you first smell it, it's immediately apparent that it smells woody, but it's not a woody smell that you are familiar with at all. It's definitely on the spiky, rough side of wood. So this isn't an exotic sandalwood, this isn't a pencil shaving cedar wood, it's more on the other side. Something a bit more intense, like oak or mahogany or one of those kind of woods where you go, Well, that's very, very woody indeed. But the whole thing really feels very, it's spiky and scratchy and dry. That's the kind of tonality of this fragrance. And you can really tell that it's a descendant of patchouli, where patchouli can be peppery, it can be leafy, it can be all kinds of things. I feel like this has taken the pepperiness of patchouli and somehow transformed into a wood. Yeah. So it mainly feels like a very dry, scratchy, peppery and quite dense, woody fragrance. There's no cleanliness, it's not smooth, it's all about roughness, this one, and it doesn't feel very masculine or feminine, which is really cool. I guess possibly if I had to pin it down, it would be a little bit more masculine than it is feminine, but this is meant to be unisex, as are a lot of Etat Libre d'Orange fragrances. And there is, to me, what feels like an incense-y kind of thing as well. If you had an incense infused with pepper, it's really weird. It's kind of golden brown, scratchy dark woods, if that makes sense. It's really rough on the nose, and it's really quite interesting. This Akigala wood, which I personally feel might become a trend now, especially amongst niche perfumers, so keep your eye out for it. But this is the first time where a fragrance has really showcased it right at the forefront. This fractionalized patchouli thing that is this fantasy wood. It's really hard to describe, but you know, I always try and do my best for you guys. You know, I love you guys a lot. And when you really smell it at the heart, it's got this core of something that I think feels a tiny bit resinous in a really weird way, but the fragrance isn't smooth, so don't get it twisted right now. It's not smooth, but it feels like there's this, again, some kind of fantasy resinous feeling right in the core of the fragrance, which is surrounded by all of this spiky, rough, peppery wood. And that is the best way I can describe it. I'm not going to repeat myself, I'm not going to go on about it. This is one that you're just going to have to smell. You really are. I'm going to spray more of it on myself now, like I always do. It's almost got this, I already said, but it's almost got a kind of very brown woody feeling. Wood is normally brown, what am I saying? But sandalwood doesn't feel brown. Sandalwood feels exotic and powdery and warm. This is definitely a kind of in a forest type of wood feeling. It's rough. It's a rough fragrance. It's definitely interesting, and I've not smelled anything quite like this before, apart from that Pierre Guillaume one, but this one showcases the wood so much more. It's in a few things, maybe go and look it up, but this is yeah, it's a descendant of patchouli in a woody form. It's like patchouli has gone to Hogwarts and had a transfiguration lesson, and now it's something else entirely. But you definitely know they're related. I feel like the development goes like this, that while it's not a super development, when it's dry, it's very dry on my wrist here because I've been wearing it all day and it's now 2 o'clock and I put it on at 9. I feel like it feels very much more like patchouli when it's dry. So it does kind of pull back a slightly leafy character once it's dry, and it's I guess a tiny bit skanky as well, but it still holds on to that woody feeling. So it goes from very intense there to, you can really feel the kind of patchouli-esque feeling of it a lot more when it's dry. I definitely get quite a lot of wear out of this. I mean, I've worn it twice and I've been wearing it for 6 hours today, and I can still smell it quite intensely on my wrist there. So, and wrists for me don't normally last. It's normally just a weird thing going on between the left and the right. So that's my review of Un Amourette, I forgot the name then, by Etat Libre d'Orange. I'm at Shomano. Click my logo down there to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon for another review. Goodbye!